good morning. Okay, starting off talking a little bit about last week's game. Once again, we came up a little short. And once again, I sit here and say we played better. You know, and I know you guys say, well, how can you say they played better and they still lost? But the guys played defensively, I think, played with a different reservation, you know, for the game. You know, unfortunately, we ran out of gas a little bit. You know, after we got tired, couldn't put the proper pressure or the pressure that we would like to have put on the opposing quarterback. You know, offensively, we started fast. You know, we've been preaching since I became the interim head coach. Starting fast, finishing strong. And obviously, we got half of that right. We started fast, but we didn't finish strong. You know, and we discussed that, you know, we can't jump out there and score 16 points and then for 3 quarters allow the other team to hang around. You know, you get confidence. You know, when you stop scoring and the other team is get the ball and you know, they're driving back and forth, you know, they'll get confidence. More and more you don't put it in there on occasions that you have, it gives them a hope that they can get a score. And it happened, and they wound up beating us 26-16. But once again, I reiterate to the Grambling Knights to keep the faith in us, keep coming, keep supporting us, and I promise you, we're gonna turn the corner. Okay? Now, we are playing Prairie View in the what is it, the State Fair Classic this coming up week. And yesterday, I want to thank you all for being here today because the press conference is usually on Monday. But yesterday I was in Dallas doing a press conference there for the game. You know, it's part of an event in Dallas, believe it or not. You know, I found that out. You know, the State Fair was the second largest fair in the world or the country or here. You know, that's what they was promoting. But it's a big hoop to do now. I remember last year, you know, smelling all that good food and stuff, and I had an opportunity to taste it there because we had something else to do. But once again, you know, we're involved in it, and Prairie View is going to be a formidable opponent. You know, defensively, they had some good kids. You know, they have a kid named Caldwell who's probably up in the leaders in the SWAC in tackles. You know, he has 54 tackles, and he got a couple of sacks, a couple of interceptions, a couple of fumbling recoveries. You know, a pretty good player. And they also have a defensive end there that you can see he puts pressure on the quarterback. He has 6 sacks. So, and to look at the stats and things from Prairie View defensively, they obviously playing defense correctly because the linebackers are their leading tacklers. You know, and that's the thing, you know, as a defensive person, you strive to do. You know, you have those big guys to occupy your line so that the linebackers can run and make hits. And it seems to me that they're doing a good job. So we're going to have to play our A game, you know what I mean, or our B game, whichever one it is. We haven't reached our A game yet. Let me say that. Now, to clear it up, let me say we haven't played our A game, in my opinion, yet. Okay, so we're going to have to work them hard this week and try to get the A game out of them. Now, offensively, you know, I got some stats here. They're not bad offensively either. You know, Coach Height is a you know, he has ties to Gramblling also. So, you know, these guys do a good job. They possess the football pretty much in the game, so that lets me know that they're running. And their passing stats are pretty good passing stats. So they have a good combination of run and pass. So we're going to have to, again, you know, we have film of them. We're going to evaluate them and come up with a good way to see if we can stop them. So that's what we're up against this week.
After the game Saturday, we talked about how close you get the feeling, hey, we're getting closer and closer every day.
Yeah.
How do you keep the kids, the players upbeat? I mean, are you concerned about frustration setting in?
Well, you know, I try to stress to them guys every game is a different opportunity. You know, and you know, nothing cures frustration like a victory. But if it's it's any good thing out of what we have accomplished is that we're making steady strides, and we still have 8 conference games ahead of us. So maybe I'm hoping, and I got faith that hey, we're gonna strike that note at the right time. You know how you have track people and your different sports that you like for them to peak at the right time. Well, let's hope that we're peaking at the right time. We're gonna peak at the right time.
What do you say about Chester Rogers and the way he's stepped it up here in recent games?
Oh, I don't know. Chester's probably he has to be in the top of the SWAC in receiving and in touchdowns, you know, and we're proud of that. But we still want more out of Chester. We want some third down catches, you know what I mean, some at crucial times and things like that. You know, we got to keep the chains moving. You know, I look at the stats too, man. I mean, when the game over, I flip the stats over and I look at Chester Rogers. You know, he got 6 catches for 67 yards and a touchdown. Now, everybody say my memory bad, but I think that's 3 games in a row. Chester had 6 catches. And, that's about 18 catches right there alone in 3 games, and that's not counting the ones we had 1 or 2 or whatever in. You know, but again, I say, Chester got to step up some more.
Coach,
Because we ain't there yet.
Coach, over the last 3 games, the defense has gave up at least 500 yards total offense in each game. This week you're going up against Prairie View A&M, who has the #1 scoring offense in the SWAC. What do you tell them?
Got to play one play at a time. That's what I tell them. You know, in their meetings this week, I say, hey, you guys got to study the formations and study their favorite plays out of those formations. You know, have an idea of what you expect to face when you see that formation. You know what I mean? And play hard. That's exactly what I tell them. It ain't no mystery to football. You know, it's like I tell them, you know, and I share with my coaches. You know, you got to familiarize the guys with what's going on, and they got to take ownership and carry out the plan.
What's the biggest reason for the defensive struggles?
What's the biggest reason? Well, we can't get pressure on the quarterback, adequate pressure, okay? If we could get adequate pressure up front on a quarterback, you know, he had less chance of making plays, man. That guy held on to that ball. Man, I might have could have completed a few passes out there sometime, you know. He brought a little time also running around. So that means, like we got to play more guys up front. You know, sometimes we are afraid to play kids because we say, hey, well, he going to make a mistake and this and that and other. But I try to tell my coaches, you got to give him a chance every now and then. You know, we preaching to them, keep the faith. So you have to have some faith in him that he going to go in there and do it right. You know, if he go and do it wrong, you pull him out, put the other guy back in, and explain to him what you need out of him over and over again.
Speaking of fresh faces, getting some fresh bodies in there, you were able to get Trey Ford in for some snaps this past week in the defensive interior, and that helped especially early in the game when he was fresh. Hey,
Larry, you're exactly right now. Trey, I tip my hat to Trey Ford because, you know, he's coming off a second ACL, MCL. You know, he had it during the summer, and he started our training camp doing real good, and he tweaked the thing again, and he's finally got back into some action. And the thing that really impressed me with Trey, and he's going to have to keep on showing me this, he got it tweaked a little bit Saturday. He came out, they attended to him, and he went back in the game. See, that's what I'm looking from Trey Ford for. That's what I'm looking from Trey Ford, for him to do. You know what I mean? In this game, it's a thing called injuries. There's a thing called being hurt. So, you know, you got to be able to play when you're hurt. You know, and Trey, he sucked it up, you know, and went out there and played, you know. And the more he gets, the better he gets in shape, the more and more he gets in shape, the more we're going to get out of Trey Ford.
Coach.
Yep.
In the ULM game and the Lincoln game, each of those games, Grambling had 15 penalties. In this game, we had 5 penalties before 105 yards. A big costly penalty we had before the punt return for a touchdown was a personal foul by Clint Marsh, unnecessary roughness.
Right.
Now, it seems like this year we've been having problems with him disciplining the ULM game and got ejected. What have you told him about his behavior during the game?
Well, I told him it's unacceptable. number one, is unacceptable. You know, to me, it's an embarrassment to Grambling. You know, an embarrassment to Clint. You know, when you think about it, and nobody's sorrier for it when it happens than Clint. But there's one thing you got to understand about Clinton Marsh, and you're right, I got to spend more time with him trying to make him understand. He's probably our best football player, or one or two of the best football players that we have. But he has to understand that it's a team game, and sometimes things that you do affect what the defense does and the other guys on the team do. Because you know directly, and I know the question you want to ask. Yeah, directly, his incident caused a ruckus between my coaches. Directly. You know what I'm saying? They asked me about it in Dallas. You guys can ask me about it. But you can rest assured, I got this. You know what I mean? I understand that. And, you know, we talked about it. You know, as the staff first, you know, we straightened that out. You know, because it was very unprofessional to me. Okay? So we straightened it out. Guess what my job's about? You know? But when I got to Dallas, the question was laid on me. Man, your coach is fighting on the sideline. I said, fight? Didn't nobody throw no blows. Yeah, it was some arguing going on. And then I stopped. I said, but you know what, fellas? I said, if my memory serves me correctly, since they got the joke about I can't remember things, we had a couple of schools that this happened to early on, you know, Division I schools, you know, and you know, you don't hear no more about it. I said, as a matter of fact, they pushed each other a little bit, but my guys didn't push each other. I hold them at bay. I said, but this is my answer to the question. Coaches are competitive also, okay? I have a coach that got 4 Super Bowl rings. I have a coach that won the Outland Trophy. You know, he went to LSU, didn't he? Okay, won the Outland Trophy. Them guys competitive. We 0-5, man. You know, nobody likes to lose. You know, coaches get emotional too. Coach Rags get emotional. But, you know, from where I sit, I have to control mine a lot better than most. But they got a little out of hand. You know what I mean? Because the penalty from a player who is, like I said again, probably our best player, it caused a rift in what the team was trying to accomplish. So Coach Winston fired, man. Hey, you can't do that. You know, so Coach Wilkins say, hey, I got it. You know, and you know, a little bit of word back and forth. No blows, fans. No blows now. Yeah, it was arguing. So it just took me a little longer to diffuse the old warrior, because, you know, us old school jokers know what football really is supposed to be. You know, knock you in the mouth, knock you down, pick you up, and hope you dust you off and come on again. You know, I want your best. I don't want your second best, but that's how we think. But really, we got that under control. You know, it ain't no rift among my coaching staff, because we talk about it. You know what I mean? And in my meetings, we air it out. Okay? I'm gonna talk. Let them know that they embarrassed me in the school. And of course, they straightened it out. You know, they told me, Coach, we straightened it out as men. And we straightened it out. And I said, that's the right thing to do. Because if it hadn't got straightened out, then Coach Rad got the act. But I got grown men, and both of them were seasoned guys, were competitive guys, fire burnt, and we diffused it. But I still got to deal with the corporate. See, because the corporate really wasn't the coaches, you know. They want to win, man. I want to win. So they got a little bit out of hand, like I say again, but hey, it's no rift between Grambling football coaches. So, you know, hopefully that doesn't go any further. We start talking about football now. Because, see, Spurrier, Coach Spurrier, see, I played with Steve Spurrier, Tampa Bay. He got a little fight, you know, but he a quarterback demeanor. You know, then I played for Steve Spurrier, Tampa Bay Bandits. So I know Steve Spurrier. And I have some of that demeanor too. Coach is supposed to get fired up, don't you? Of course, you have to remember you're a professional, and they did. It just took a little while for the old line to realize it. Then he went on back to work. We finished the game. And I'm through with that.
I'm not a crybaby, you're not either, and it's history, but there was a situation in the game where obviously the quarterback from Lamar was on the ground. They didn't make the call, which led to a score.
Right? And you know, hey, look, I argued that one to a certain point when the ref turned around and said, all right, Coach, You know, I know he done heard enough now. I didn't need to get him the penalty, so I let it go. But he was, you know, I think, clearly on the ground, and they let him make the pass. But that's the way it goes. You got to be able to play through one or two adversities if you're going to be a good team.
Coach.
We talked about Trey Ford, but there's a couple of other guys, offensive line and those type of things that you're getting back finally in the mix too at this point of the season.
Yeah, well, we hope so. You know, I don't know if we're going to get O'Dear back. I don't think that's going to happen. But, you know, we got a couple of them that's, right now I can't call their names because they're not back. You know, it looks like they might be.
Coach, Justin Kelly, running back freshman, had his second game of the season going over 100 yards rushing. Do you see him getting the bulk of the carries as the season goes on?
I see him getting about the same he getting now. Because, you know, you talking to a running back, okay? Boy, people don't know the banging and the knocking going on a running back. You know, so it's nice to have one or two that you can split the difference, you know, that can split those carries. Because, you know, sure, I hope I got him in there at the best times most of the time, but I'm not afraid to play Juwan Martin. I'm not afraid to play Skinner. Skinner is my starter. Now, don't y'all go to sleep. You know, Skinner, I chose not to play Skinner because I'd rather have a 100% Skinner than a guy running the ball and nobody probably even seen it the week before he ran the ball. And Skinner, I know Skinner would run through the wall. But Skinner came up on a kid and run around him and never did pick his right arm up to stiff arm him or do Skinner stuff. So right there, Coach Ragsdale know, hey, I'm going to set Skinner down because every time I ask Cedric Skinner, you all right? Can you go? Yeah, Coach, I'm all right. Coach, don't take my carries because that's the warrior in it. See, we got a few of them now. We got a few warriors. They just I need a few more. But yeah, I'm gonna play Kelly, I'm going to play Skinner, and I'm going to play Martin. We're going to give them all they want, but we just got to get in the position to be in the front sometime, man, later on in the game so people can really see how those kids can run. But a lot of times, you know, we got to have them in pass protection because we're behind and we got to try to pass the ball to get back in the game.
Speaking of Juwan Martin, you guys seem to work well with him on protecting the football because Lamar was making a conscious effort at going at him specifically on trying to strip the ball from him, and he held on to it Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. Well, see, Martin is one of those guys, too, that dealt with adversity. You know, early on in his career here, being a quarterback out of high school, you know, and coming here switching to running back, he had to learn there's a difference between running that football at that backfield than running from the quarterback position. See, quarterbacks that do all this running and things, you know, defense really don't have a person assigned to the quarterback. They'll have that thing you hear them say on TV, a spy and things. But a quarterback that can run, if he drops back to pass the football, what everybody do on defense? Drop back, don't he? If that sucker come up through there and he'd kind of run I was going to say Manziel, but he ain't got to be a Manziel. You know, he can be an average runner. He going to get 10 to 15 yards if he can run. So, you know, Juwan had to learn that it's a little different animal running it from running back than it is running from the quarterback. But he's developing, man. He's developing every year, and he's a coachable guy. Because a lot of times you see Juwan goes and play fullback for us. Because I only have one fullback on the roster, and that's Fusilade. But Juwan to go in there and play fullback for me.
Coach, lately we've seen, or at least this past game, we've seen DJ take most of his snaps from the shotgun, look like more of a spread than a pro style. Do you think that he's more comfortable taking the snaps from the shotgun than he is from under center?
Well, you know, I don't want to say more pro style because the NFL got everybody in the shotgun now. I mean, I guess everybody's belief in dropping back, you know, 3-step drop, 5-step drop, 7-step drop, like us old school jokers do. You know, they think the quarterback gets a better view of the field when he comes out of the shotgun. But when you're running quick plays, I think he has, you know, he got to get the snap. Most of them want to flip the ball, you know, to the laces and make that throw. So I like my quick game under the center. I do. You know, but hey, look, I had to adjust a little bit too, you know. See, one thing about being a coach, you got to coach to the talent that you have. You know, you got a plan. Of course, I have a plan. But I got to fill my athletic positions with the type of guys that I want. You know, and until I can do that, I got to play to the talent that I have.
Do you think with some of the penalties, they're just mental mistakes, or you think that some of the guys are maybe trying too hard, frustration setting in that you are 0-5, or before in the past games you hadn't won a game, so they might be trying to do too much, or, in case of personal fouls, they, the frustration sets in and they might, do something that they normally wouldn't do?
Well, that's a tough question, because I wish I could get inside the head, see what it was, really. But, it's probably a combination of both things. A little frustration sits in. Because just like I say, see, Saturday, we jumped out there, and they were doing the things we asked them to do, playing fast and scoring. So, it was a kind of different sideline if you watched it. Them cats was, they were pulling for each other and things, and then we just sit on that 16 points too long. So you can't sit on that 16 points like that, because each time they get the ball and they don't succeed, and then they point it back to us, then we get it and don't succeed, they say, oh yeah, the score ain't changed. We still got a chance to, run them down, and it finally happened, So, we just got to get better in all phases, man. Bottom line, we have to get better in all phases, and we're working on it. We certainly are working at it.
I mean, we look at 0-5, but realistically, in 2011, we lost 2 conference games. We've only lost 2 conference games now and went on to win the championship.
Larry, that's what George Ragsdale looking at. I know everybody else looking at the 0-5, but I keep my guys focused on the opportunity is still in front of you. And that might be another reason they play hard, because they understand they still have a chance. But it's like I told them, the chance every week get less and less. So we got to stop talking about it and be about it.
You talk about the chance. How important does that make this game against Prairie View, who, as we know, has been pretty strong on that side of the conference?
It makes it all important for both reasons. Number one, we haven't won, and number two is a conference game. Or 1-2, whichever, switch it whichever way you want. It's important because of that. It's a conference game and we haven't won. And I'm gonna let them know that the opportunity is still in front of them. And not for 1 minute do I think that they're gonna give up. I don't. And when we hit that stride, we're gonna be rolling.